All right, all right. We're back again. Um, I'm officially addicted to Underdog Fantasy Live Drafts. I can't get enough of them. I'm doing them all the time now. And if you are curious, yes, you can do them as well. You can go on Underdog Fantasy. You can deposit anywhere from $10 to $100. You can have that $10 to $100 match 100% on that first deposit, and that's free money. Free money, okay? Free money that you can have, and you can use that free money to have fun, to practice, for drafting, and just go get free money. Get on here, have some fun with me. We can get in the same draft if you want. We can, I can show you how it's done. But here we are again. I'm still waiting for these puppy drafts to start back up. I don't know when / if. I'm assuming they're going to do another puppy draft, but I don't know when they're going to put the next one up. So in the meantime, we're going to continue practicing on these 12-man or 12-team drafts. Not a tournament, but here is the prize payout: $20 a first, triple your money in second, then get your money back in third. So not any crazy payouts, but I think we're closing in on 30 drafts now, and we're going to continue drafting. So we'll see what happens as far as the money goes, but I can guarantee we'll have fun in the process. We'll learn in the process. I'll stream in the process, and we'll hang out. So we're going to get into this when it fills up. There's still 8 people left. These fill up a little bit slower than the puppy draft draft rooms do, but good news is I have a plan. Yesterday, I was doing this plan. I was showing a previous draft that I did during the day, and the draft started and auto-picked for me. Luckily, it was a player that I wanted anyways, but I'm going to put the draft room up on my second monitor so I don't miss it. And it looks like this is our 31st draft. I guess I did my 30th draft today, earlier, and this is the team. I actually really like this team that I ended up with. And it was the Travis Kelce first pick strategy. So here's my Travis Kelce pick, first pick. So then when we got back I picked at pick 10, by the way. I guess it says right here, position 10. Here's my layout: 2 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 9 wide receivers, and then 2 tight ends. So on my second and third picks, I went with Joe Mixon and James Conner to really lock in those solid running backs. What I've been doing lately is when I do lock in, I like locking in 2 solid running backs early in the draft so that I can just punt my backup running backs just to later rounds, so I don't have to worry about grabbing them. Because I found that if I do wide receivers and I pass on running backs in the earlier rounds, then I feel like I'm constantly trying to make up for it as the rounds go by. So what I've been liking doing is grabbing 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds and then just going, just hammering in those kind of middle tier wide receivers, because my theory is that if you hammer in the middle tier wide receivers, yes, you won't have one player that you're having their score count every single week, but usually between the collection of them, I feel like you should be able to get some solid scores count in this best ball format. So we went Joe Mixon and James Conner, and then we locked in the Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce stack in the, 4th round. So then after the 4th round, we just hammered wide receivers like we were just talking about. So we have a lot of these middle tier wide receivers right here. We have Juju for the double stack with Mahomes. That's what this 3-player Kansas City exposure is. We went Rashad Bateman, Brandon Ayuk, Russell Gage, Robert Woods, Tim Patrick, Jameson Crowder, Curtis Samuel, and Julio Jones. Now, another theme I saw with this this wide receiver core is we have a lot of infrequent spike week potential candidates. Like Brandon Ayuk he's not going to be consistent, but he'll have his weeks. Same with Bateman, same with Russell Gage. He'll have that one game every so often that he'll have like a bomb touchdown for 100 yards and a touchdown. So that'll count that week. Robert Woods is coming back. I learned this today, actually. Robert Woods is going to be out at the beginning of the season from that, I think it was an ACL injury he suffered last year. So he'll be back. I think it's around week 5. 5 or 6 for the Titans. So once he comes back, we'll have I think he's going to be an elite receiver this year. I think he's extremely undervalued. I've been saying this, but Robert Woods is a dark horse candidate for me at the wide receiver position that I think is extremely overlooked this year, as well as Jameson Crowder. I don't know why Jameson Crowder hasn't been getting the attention he has. I know Gabriel Davis had his moments in the playoffs last year. I know, obviously, Stephon Diggs is an elite receiver, but Jameson Crowder, he plays a slot, and your slot receivers are not competing for targets against the wideouts as much as it may seem. When you're looking at a slot receiver, look at them as a slot receiver and not a wide receiver 3, because it's just very different calls, and the slot gets called on very different situations. So I think Jameson Crowder is going to be a great value going forward. Curtis Samuel I've been liking just because the whole Terry McLaurin contract issue, if he does get traded, Curtis Samuel's value skyrockets into the wide receiver 1 position, potentially, or 2. So I like that pick. Plus, he fell to us almost 10 picks, so it's hard not to take him there. And we only went with one more tight end just because we have Travis Kelce, so we're basically banking on him when we go with him in round 1. So I really like this team. I think this team has really good potential to win our leagues. And then in the running back room that we didn't touch on is this draft is starting. We didn't touch on 2 of my running backs are backups for my starters. So if either one of them gets injured, then we're good. I think Chris Evans will be the backup if Joe Mixon did go down, and I think Samaje Perine, I think he would stay in the role that he is currently in as a receiving back, and Chris Evans would take over the majority of the workload. So, and then I think James Cook is a wild card this year as well. I don't know if the talent is extremely elite, but the offense is definitely elite, and he might have a lot of opportunities in the red zone this upcoming year, because Devin Singletary hasn't really given me any reasons to think that he's going to have a crazy breakout year anytime soon. I think he's an average running back at best in the NFL. But that's that. Sexy RX7. Moving forward. Our draft is starting. Now, if you've watched any of my drafts, if you watch any of my drafts, you probably laugh at me because every time I get 1, 2, 3, I say, I don't really like this range. Every time I get 5, 6, 7, 8, I'm like, I don't really like this range. So I've realized that the only range I actually get excited about is 10, 11, 12. I know that's probably backwards from a lot of other people, including you guys watching. But for whatever reason, I like the players that fall to this 10, 11, 12 range. But regardless, the office leagues, friend leagues, family leagues that you'll be involved in come the NFL season, you're going to have a randomized pick. That's how every draft works. You get randomized your position. So getting practice at positions in the draft that you dislike is actually better than getting practice at positions in the draft that you already are comfortable with. You learn from discomfort, and that's what we're trying to do here. So Christian McCaffrey makes it all the way to 5. I wish he made it to us at 7, but that's a lot to ask. Trying to think of what I'm going to do here. Stephon Diggs goes. That's who I was considering, actually. So what we will do is we are going to go ahead and grab Austin Eckler here. That's the right pick. I shy away from him just because of his build. Honestly, I'm a little nervous about his ability to stay healthy, but we'll try to grab Isaiah Spiller later on just to give us some insurance, because if he does go down, Isaiah Spiller becomes kind of takes his place as far as rankings in the running backs across the NFL. So if we can get that Isaiah Spiller, then that'll be some insurance, and if not, we'll just count on Austin Eckler staying healthy, because when he is healthy, he knows how to put up points, especially in a PPR league, half PPR or full PPR. Now, I will say, in regards to Austin Eckler, he will have a drop-off from touchdown efficiency. Last year he had, I think it was 20 touchdowns throughout the season, and then years before that he was more in the range of 7 to 12. So expect that efficiency to come down a little bit, but even if it comes down a little bit, he's still getting those receptions. He's still in an elite offense. So we're going to fire him up at pick 7. I considered Derrick Henry there for a second just because I don't know. I like him a lot. However, I have a lot of leagues with Derrick Henry because I like him so much. And usually when I'm in this 9-10 range, Derrick Henry's my first pick when he falls to me. So I thought about him briefly, but I kind of want to switch it up and get some exposure to people that I don't normally have. Obviously, this isn't a tournament situation, so we're not really making exclusive builds, but it keeps it fun. If you draft the same team every time, then kind of gets monotonous, especially when you're doing 30, 40, 50 drafts and upwards. So Mark Andrews goes pretty early in the second round, which I like to see because hopefully we'll get a value falling to us here at pick 7. Hold on. One thing I have learned to like about this pick 7 range is that you don't have to plan as far out, and you can kind of count on people falling to you that you're looking for. Because if you're at the turn, sometimes if there's a player that normally goes at the opposite turn, you have to think about it and reach on them pretty far, and that always is uncomfortable. So here in the middle of the draft, you're not having to reach. You kind of just take what falls to you. You know your guys, obviously, but you're never really in a position where you're reaching. You're just kind of passing on those guys, hoping they fall to you. If they don't, fine, you move on and pick someone else. So unfortunately, CeeDee Lamb goes. That's who I was hoping for. Debo goes. Not Debo. I'm sorry. DeAndre Swift went. So what we will do here is we will fire up Debo Samuel. Now, the theme of this team already is drafting players that have a high rate of injury. So I'm not super comfortable that these players are going to stay healthy for the entirety of the season. But if there's one thing I've learned is you can't base your picks too heavily on potential for injury. Because, I mean, A, if they don't get injured, you missed out on a good pick just because you were nervous. And B, it just makes things too complicated. You end up passing on people you shouldn't. And I think you can't go through the draft scared. You have to pick the guys that you like and that have value in that given pick. And that's what we did. So Austin Eckler, Debo Samuel is our start. Debo was the wide receiver 2, I believe, 2 or 3 last year. And we got him at pick 18, which is, not a crazy value compared to his ADP, but we still like him at that pick. So we'll go with him. I thought about Mike Evans just because of his beginning of season potential without Chris Godwin while he's recovering from his injury. However, I think throughout the entirety of the season, Debo is looking like a better option. So that was our thought process there. Let's see how this is shaking out. I've noticed that Saquon Barkley is going earlier and earlier in these drafts. When I first started drafting a couple weeks ago, Saquon Barkley was pretty regularly falling to pick 31, sometimes even pick 35. Like he was falling pretty far. And I think people are starting to realize that kind of what we were just talking about is if he stays healthy, then his ceiling is so high, especially because of his receiving potential. He's really just a do-it-all back, so he's going earlier and earlier. James Conner goes, unfortunately. So, what do we want to do here? Let's think about this. I think we're going to go Michael Pittman. I think this might be our first draft with Michael Pittman. He's not my favorite player in this third round range. However, I do think he has an extremely high ceiling because his wide receiver two, the wide receiver two on the Indianapolis Colts is either going to be a rookie, a second round rookie, or Paris Campbell, which we've seen what Paris Campbell can do, which is nothing. So, and I do think that Matt Ryan still has plenty left in the tank and can distribute the ball. Jonathan Taylor is obviously an elite talent that will demand some attention. It'll demand the safeties to kind of come into the box a little bit more, to play the run. And hopefully they go with the play action style offense where Michael Pittman can get loose over the top and have a higher efficiency rate on that offense. So I'm going to give him a fire up. This team is shaken out to be a team that I don't normally draft, but I do like where we started. So let's continue as planned. I was kind of hoping Kyle Pitts would fall to us, but that was a little bit of a pipe dream. So I'm not surprised he went. David Montgomery goes very early. How early did he go? Yeah, he went 14 picks ahead of ADP. So this guy reached on his guy. And that's what we were talking about earlier, is when you're at this end, see, he's at this 3-4 turn, so he's not going to get another pick till 60. So if he wants David Montgomery, he has to reach, because this is where his ADP is, right here at 51. He had to reach that whole way to get the guy he wanted, whereas when we're in the middle, it'll shake out to, yeah, maybe we don't get David Montgomery and whoever our reach would have been, but we don't have to weather that storm as long. So let's see who's available. Let us see. Surprisingly enough, I think I'm going to go Deontay Johnson right here. I think I'm going to go Deontay Johnson, and I was a lot lower on him earlier in these drafts, but I've been slowly learning to give him a chance because my thought process was that he had a bad quarterback, which, I'm not going to sit here and preach that. I'm not going to sit here and preach that Mitchell Trubisky is some elite talent that is going to have a breakout year on a newer offense. But what I will say is that I think he's going to be a lot better than people expect, because last time we saw him, he was on the Bears, which, I think he was under Matt Nagy last time we saw him, which he was a horrible coach. Bears were a horrible organization when he was there. Still are, but I think they're headed in the right direction as well. But in regards to Mitchell Trubisky, I think he didn't have a system that supported him very well. And what I will say is the Steelers have a winning culture and great coaches, and I think they know how to put him in a situation that will set him up for success. So it will kind of mute some of his talent, kind of what he lacks in talent. I think they'll find ways to scheme around it and still get his guys open. And Deontay Johnson is going to be that wide receiver one in Pittsburgh. So I've been liking him a little bit more. So again, we're actually continuing the theme of this video. Not intentionally the theme of this video, but the video has kind of shaken out to be drafting guys that we were low on, but we're slowly learning to like. And drafting Deontay Johnson there, what that does is that kind of locks in our top 3 wide receivers. So now I'll probably punt wide receiver for quite a while and try to get some stacks at the quarterback position, as well as try to lock in another running back here in the upcoming round. And I might continue to punt tight end further down the road, but we'll see how it shakes out. Let's take a quick look at the big board, see what's happening. Patrick Mahomes makes it all the way to round 5. That is shocking. You usually see him going right here to the Travis Kelce team. I always draft him when I have Travis Kelce on my team. And a lot of other people do too. So it's surprising that he makes it all the way to round 5. I'm sure NRG Fantasy Focus was pretty pumped to be able to get him there. He takes Darren Waller, which I also considered at my pick. So I like what NRG is doing so far. All of these teams in this room are looking pretty good. So it looks like we have a draft room full of people that know what they're doing, which always makes it tougher on us. But we're going to get it done. See what Ecoms does. I know who I want, but we'll see if we can get him. You see Gabriel Davis going behind his ADP quite a bit as well. So, okay. And he goes. So he didn't fall too far that round. And we're going to go with our guy, J.K. Dobbins. I think he is a breakout candidate. I know everyone's caught up on the fact that the Ravens have a committee running back situation in Baltimore. However, I'm a Ravens fan, so I watch every game. And what I can tell you is that J.K. Dobbins, A, is the clear-cut number one. B, the Ravens rush the majority of the time. So even if he's in a committee offense, he's still probably getting the same amount of touches that someone on, a bell cow running back would get on a passing offense. And C, I think that talent is just there. I mean, when he runs downhill. We have a great line. So, and maybe that's just the Baltimore fan in me speaking. Maybe I'm extremely biased. I don't know. But I like J.K. Dobbins this year, and I'm going to continue picking him when I can. I actually haven't been able to pick him a whole lot, so I'm kind of excited to get him here. We'll go to the big board so we can see what the other teams are doing. Looks like Dalton Schultz went early, but I might be mistaken there. That might be pretty average for him. I've been very high on Dalton Schultz as well. I think Amari Cooper left over 130 targets vacant when he left. And those targets have to go somewhere, and I can guarantee you they're not going to the rookie, and Michael Gallup is going to be out for the first 6 games. So a lot of them will go to CeeDee Lamb, but some of them is going to go to Dalton Schultz as well. So if I can, I'm going to try to take another running back here, pending other values that may fall to us. I would love for Josh Jacobs to fall to us. If Antonio Gibson is there, we are passing. Big pass. He's had his injury issues, and he already suffered a minor hamstring injury in OTAs already. So, and on top of all that, they just drafted a new running back, and he has a fumbling problem. So I don't even know if he ends the season as the running back 1. That's how I feel about Antonio Gibson. And going in the 6th round, I'm never investing in that. So we're starting to think about what quarterbacks we want to go with. I'm thinking Trey Lance for the Debo Samuel stack, but I feel like we don't have a clear-cut number 1 option yet. So we're just going to continue to play it by ear. I think it's good to plan a little bit ahead, just so you're not having to make quick decisions in 30 seconds when someone before you snipes you and you're trying to make a decision on the fly. But if you try to plan too far out in advance, then you end up missing values and reaching on players too far. So we're just going to wait and see how everything works out. Like I said, if Josh Jacobs falls to us, we're going to take him. But I have a feeling he'll go right here. He does have 2 running backs already, so maybe he doesn't. He has Derrick Henry and DeAndre Swift. What you doing? You're not auto-drafting Josh Jacobs, are you? You're going to auto-draft, huh? You didn't. Okay, you had Drake London queued. So we're going to go Josh Jacobs. And I think what that does is... So this is something I've talked about before, and I'm going to continue to draft like this, and I'm going to continue to preach it, is because you have 2 running backs that start that have scores that count weekly, right? So your running back 1 and 2 are going to have those scores counted every single week. So what I like to do is I either like to grab 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds, and if I don't do that, I grab 1 running back in the first 3 rounds, and then I try to grab 2 of that middle 5th, 6th round running backs, because I think between the 2 of them, they have the potential of equaling a running back 1 that you would get in the first 3 rounds. So that's my thought process. I think once you have at least one of those two options, then you can begin to punt running back later down the road. Because after Josh Jacobs, I mean, I've said it before, but he is the drop-off in the running back category. Because after him, you fall to Antonio Gibson, which I do not like at all. If I was confident that Elijah Mitchell was going to start, then yeah, sure, I would pick him. And I think he is an extremely good player, but the San Francisco 49ers start a new running back every single year. So I'm not going to draft him just out of the speculation that I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to share touches to a certain degree. You get an A.J. Dillon, handcuff running back, CEH, who fell off a cliff once Jerick McKinnon signed. Miles Sanders can't stay healthy. Kenneth Walker, we don't know if he's going to start. So you see the range that you start getting into after Josh Jacobs. So that's why I like trying to secure those 2-3 options in the first 6 rounds. I'll pull up the big board here. I hope this audio is good. If anyone is here, please let me know if the audio sounds good. I have really no way of telling until I watch it back. I think we should be locking in on a good audio level here at 55. Still kind of some growing pains, but we're working through them. I learned yesterday that I can't stream the lo-fi music anymore. I thought that copyright issues were not relevant with lo-fi music, especially since it's a live radio on YouTube. But turns out you get a copyright strike if you stream with the lo-fi music. So unfortunately, we had to quit doing that. So if you were wondering why the lo-fi music wasn't there, that's why. Okay, what's our next pick? I'm just trying to think here. Our next pick is 90. Okay, next pick's going to be Trey Lance if he makes it to us. So I'm not super pressed to grab a quarterback here. So I'm going to grab Treylon Burks. Like I said, I didn't even realize that Robert Woods was going to miss the beginning of the season. I don't know why. I should have assumed that due to the severity of the injury that he suffered last year, and the time that he did suffer it. But yeah, so in the beginning of the season, Treylon Burks is going to be the only option in Tennessee, and I think that he is a good prospect as well. So I actually like that pick a lot, and that's my first exposure towards Treylon Burks as well. So that feels good. This is a very different team for me, and like I said, I really do like it. I'm getting a lot of players that I don't normally get. I was either low on them, or they just never shook out and fell to me. So it's kind of nice to switch it up and get some players that I'm not used to getting. Now right here, we're just hoping that no one goes Trey Lance. If we make it through these next 4 picks, I'll feel a lot better about it, because these two teams don't have quarterbacks yet. Okay, Jay Mayo does have Russell Wilson now. I think we have, so we have Tom Brady and Dak Prescott in front of Trey Lance. So hopefully we're set, but we'll just have to wait and see. This team was looking solid, but going double running back here I think is unnecessary since you already have Joe Mixon, David Montgomery. I'm even okay with going one of the two, but I don't think you needed to go back-to-back running backs at that turn. I think you would have found far more value in grabbing a quarterback or just another wide receiver. And this guy doubles up on quarterbacks. So Dak Prescott is the only cushion we have in the quarterback room until Trey Lance, or until our pick. But our pick is only 2 picks away. So as long as these two guys don't go with Trey Lance, as long as this one guy doesn't go with Trey Lance, we should be able to scoop him. And he doesn't. So we're going to get Trey Lance for the Debo Samuel Trey Lance stack. Now, Trey Lance is a great pick for one of 2 reasons. A, the stack, and B, he has that rushing potential. And I'm sure you've heard people talk about the rushing quarterbacks having that higher ceiling. And the reason for that, if you're unaware, is that a rushing touchdown counts for more than a passing touchdown. So if you have a quarterback that can run it in, then you're open to a higher ceiling because it's 2 more points per touchdown if they rush it in. And then if he doesn't rush it in, Debo Samuel probably will. So we like that stack a lot. So we're going to open the big board. We're going to see where we're picking next at 103. We're really getting to the point where we need to take a tight end, at least in my eyes. But no tight ends are really sticking out to me, to be honest. If Dallas Goedert falls to us, fine. I'll take him. Rob Gronkowski has been a little difficult for me to take lately just because I'm really not sure that he comes back. I mean, I know everyone speculates that he will due to the fact that Tom Brady is pretty much guaranteed only going to play one more season and will be a Super Bowl contender. So you would think he would come back to play with his buddy one more year. But nothing's guaranteed. So I've been kind of trigger shy on drafting Rob Gronkowski lately. Because if he does play, I mean, we saw what he did last year, even at the age that he's at. How old is he? Let's see. Rob Gronk age. Yeah, so he's 33. So he's getting up there. But, I mean, we saw him produce last year. So I think as long as he's on the field, he's going to be a very valuable option. I guess we can continue to view this in the big board. I think it's a lot nicer way of viewing the overall performance of the draft room. I don't know if anyone has drafted on the phone application, but it is actually a very I kind of like it more just because you have this draft room option to view it in, but it's kind of set up like this to where you have the board down here and then you also have these going across so you can see more of a on a per pick basis what's going on, and this is like a big picture view. So it's actually very impressive the way that Underdog Fantasy Drafts on the phone application if you haven't already, which is a little unfortunate for me because that makes it really enticing to draft all day when I'm doing stuff. So probably not healthy for the wallet. I really should be streaming every single draft, but you know, when you have that much fun, sometimes you just can't help it. Sometimes you really just can't help it. We'll see how this shakes out. I really don't love this range here. Looks like we're going to go tight end regardless. Yeah, we're going to go tight end regardless between Dawson Knox and Dallas Goedert. I prefer Dallas Goedert, but okay. We're going to go Dallas Goedert. So, another thing that I'm learning is I like keeping my team relatively balanced. You saw my start was not balanced at all. I went heavy running back, wide receiver to begin with until I could find a stack at the quarterback position. But when you're starting, let's pull this out. When you're starting to get into the middle area of the draft in this 9, 10, 11 area, you want to make sure your team is balanced heading into the end because that's when the later rounds are when values really start to fall. And you can pick up on some good values, and you want to be able to take them when they fall to you. Because if you go, super wide receiver heavy or super heavy in any position, by the time you make it lower in the draft, if you're, you punted tight end all the way down to rounds 14, you're forced to take some tight ends. You're going to have to take a large concentration of tight ends in that range to make up for that lost time. And all of my bad drafts have been when I'm trying to make up punting a position too long. When you punt a position too long and you're constantly chasing it and trying to make up for that lost pick and the lost value, then even if a player that you like and even if they're 15 picks behind ADP, sometimes you have to pass because you punted that position for so long that you're forced to take, like I said, you're forced to take a tight end or whatever the case may be. So I've noticed that I like to kind of balance things out here so that moving forward, I can just take the people that fall to me and kind of let the draft room decide who I'm taking at that point. And that's when you get your best values. So I've learned that about my drafting process as the experience goes on and we learn more and more. Actually, I'm going to end up with someone that I really like. Yeah, I was going to say Melvin Gordon or Robert Woods. I have to go Robert Woods. Now, I screwed up a draft yesterday, I think it was, I got 2 double stacks in the same team, which I just did not like because the 2 double stacks were my first 5 receivers. Four of my first 5 receivers were part of that double stack, and I think I was trying to make up at the wide receiver position for the entire rest of the draft because I was thinking that if your top 4 receivers are all on 2 teams, then you're going to have one or the other produce at any given week. So that's only going to give you a result of 2 scores counting towards a wide receiver slot, and you have 3 slots. So if you get too many receivers higher in the draft on the same team, then I feel like your ceiling is extremely capped. Here, I think it's a little bit different. A, because Treylon Burks and Robert Woods are my 4th and 5th receivers. And B, we don't have 2 other receivers above them on the same team. And C, it sets up a double stack with Ryan Tannehill later on. And I think with this draft, we'll probably end up going 3 quarterbacks. That's TBD, but I think that's how it's going to work out for us, which I'm okay with because we did go so running back and wide receiver heavy in the beginning. We didn't go any quarterbacks in that elite range. I mean, I guess Trey Lance is still counted in that range. I count the top quarterbacks to be any quarterbacks that go in picks 100 or before. Like Aaron Rodgers is pretty much the drop off. So Trey Lance is, I think he has extreme potential. However, there's also an extreme amount of unknown with him as well. So I'm not necessarily comfortable with going just Trey Lance and Ryan Tannehill because, Ryan Tannehill is not going to put up quarterback 1 numbers every week. He'll give you a week or two, but I don't think he's going to be. I just don't feel comfortable with the room of Trey Lance and Ryan Tannehill. So we'll probably end up going with someone. I might even go like Baker Mayfield as my last pick. I saw that the Carolina Panthers were quote unquote urgent to make a deal. And if they don't make a deal, then Deshaun Watson might end up getting suspended and he might still play for the Browns. So I might just get Tannehill here in this. I think he's around this range, 15, 16 range. And then I might go with like Baker Mayfield last. Just to give us options. Gronkowski is taken. Okay, we were going to go with him if he wasn't taken right there. I'm not in love with any of the receivers here. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We are going to go receiver in Kenny Golladay. Wide receiver one in the Giants offense. If Saquon Barkley can stay healthy, it'll probably open up some opportunities for Kenny Golladay down the field. Now, I do think that Kadarius Toney is actually the better receiver here. But we didn't really get to see a whole lot of Kenny Galladay last year due to his injury. And who knows how much that was affecting him when we did see him. And I think even with that injury concern, he was still able to put up a few weeks of decent numbers. So let's give him a chance to gain some rapport with Daniel Jones for one more year. And being that he's our sixth option, then I like him right there. You saw me almost go Jameson Crowder. Because we talked about it in the beginning of the video, but I am really high on him. But I think I like Kenny Galladay a little bit more just because of the opportunity. Jameson Crowder is a slot receiver. And you do have Gabriel Davis and Stephon Diggs on that offense, as well as Dawson Knox. All amazing players. Whereas in New York, it's really just Kadarius Toney and Kenny Galladay. I don't even know who the tight end is there, so I like that pick a lot. Now, I was originally going to try to go with Robert Tonyan on this upcoming pick, which he will be my fallback option. But if you remember, there was one player that I was really trying to get after my first draft pick. So we'll see if we can get him. Although I will say there's a lot of people ahead of us that it's not looking too hot. This guy's going to go running back because he is one running back through the first, 12 rounds? Don't pick our guy. Don't do it. You can go Dameon Pierce if you want. There you go. Good choice. Hopefully this guy doesn't. Yeah, okay. I didn't think he was going to go running back because he had 4 already. These two teams definitely could take a running back. This guy might go tight end. He's still sitting at 0. So he should probably go Robert Tonyan or Irv Smith because there is quite a drop-off in talent after Cole Kmet. So that's what he probably should do, but we'll see what he does. Michael Carter. Okay. You do see people reaching on Michael Carter quite a bit, and we do get our guy, Isaiah Spiller. So now we have the entire backfield in an extremely productive offense. So maybe even, I think they might even be the best offense in the NFL next year. I think it's between them, Buffalo, and probably the Bengals. So I really like having my hand in that pot. It gives us some insurance behind Austin Eckler in case he does get injured. Because if he gets injured, then Isaiah Spiller just slides right into that role very nicely. So now we have a running back room that we're extremely comfortable with. We're not rushing to get our last player anytime soon. We'll probably grab our 5th running back towards the end of the draft, and that's really not even extremely necessary. I mean, you're not counting on that guy anyways, so we'll maybe go with like a James Robinson or even Gus Edwards since we have J.K. Dobbins. But we're not really worried about that. We'll just pick that based off of value. Let's take another look at the big board. Does anyone have any dire needs at a position? RC Thrash has no quarterback still. Actually, that reminds me. When is our boy falling? Ryan Tannehill pick 182. 182. See, I'm not going to reach from 175. Here, you can't see that. Hold on. I'm not going to reach from 175 to get Tannehill, so I'll just have to hope that he falls to 186. But again, I'm super comfortable with just kind of seeing how the quarterback room shakes out. Actually, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. We do need to start thinking about taking a quarterback here, and we do need to start thinking about tight ends here. I think that's the top of our priority list is quarterbacks and tight ends. So if Albert O makes it to us, I'll be glad to take him. Super comfortable with that pick. However, I might go Deshaun Watson, actually, especially since I'm planning on going 3 quarterbacks. He will most likely miss, I think I saw 7 to 10 games, which in a 17 game season is a large chunk of time. However, he might swoop in the golden hour and mm, yeah, I was really hoping that Njoku fell so we could go with a Deshaun Watson potential stack, but I think I'm still gonna take him here. Mm. Yeah, we're gonna go Deshaun Watson. I actually do like that. Like I said, I'm not really pressed on the running back room to any degree. I'm actually really comfortable with our wide receiver room as well. So, my short thought process there was you really don't want to go 3 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends. And now that we're punting tight end again, um, we're kind of getting in the range where we have to take 3. But being that I'm so comfortable in the running back room as well as the wide receiver room, I might end up doing that. I don't even know if that's something that people do generally, but we might do it here just the way things shook out. And being that I'm so comfortable with the rest of our rooms, and I don't feel pressed to grab somebody anytime soon at the running back and wide receiver position. Trying to look ahead here and see what tight ends I'd like to target, and Hayden Hurst is always going to be one of those tight ends. However, he falls in the same range as Ryan Tannehill, so maybe we just look for like a Noah Fant or let's see the big board one more time. See where we're picking next. We're going to be picking at 162 and 175. So let's look ahead. 162 is right here. Now I'm starting to reconsider. I'm starting to think about taking Matt Ryan for the Michael Pittman stack. I think I'm just going to wait and see how this shakes out. Because if I go with Matt Ryan, then that would open me up to being able to take Hayden Hurst in the 181 range and Noah Fant. And I would be really comfortable with both my quarterback room and my tight end room at that point. However, I'm not too sure how that's going to affect the rest of my team. Like, I don't know if it would be more beneficial to take Noah Fant here or Gus Edwards. Okay. We really are high on Hayden Hurst, though. Hmm. Thinking. I don't love that. I might have just choked. I really was considering Matt Ryan and Tyrion Davis Price. I probably should have went with Tyrion Davis Price, huh? That probably would have been the right pick. However, I will say Tyler Higbee might open up the possibility of just not taking a third. We really got to lock it in here because I don't want to throw this draft away. I love the start. The first pick that I haven't liked is this Tyler Higbee pick. So let's just see how this all shakes out, and we're not going to choke here. We're going to continue picking per usual, and believing in our guys, and we'll see what happens. I got a text that dinner is ready. I'm very excited. Super hungry. We have a little Greek chicken salad tonight. A little tzatziki sauce. Stop. We can't talk about that right here. This is YouTube streaming, and if we keep talking about food in a sexual fashion, we might get banned. And I don't think anyone would want that. So we're going to cut that conversation off short where it was. And we'll see how this shakes out. I was kind of hoping that Matt Ryan maybe fell to us. That was a little bit of a pipe dream, but that's okay. I'm going to count on Ryan Tannehill falling to us at 186. So whenever you see me do this, there's just one little gnat. There's one fucking gnat that just keeps buzzing around my head. It's driving me nuts. And if anyone knows how to get rid of gnats, you just let me know, because I've done it all. I feel like I've done it all, and they're still here. I don't know why. I mean, we do have 2 dogs, so the door gets left open a little bit, but holy shit. I mean, we're also in North Carolina, and the bugs here are insane. The bugs here are so bad. Who do we want? We'll pick our way. We are going to be pick 175. I don't like Robbie Anderson at all. He is just such a bad attitude, and I think that is worth considering, because a player that's trying and giving his all is a lot different than a player that's checked out. So Ryan Tannehill went. Interesting. Okay, I'm glad I saw that, actually, because I was even considering taking Zach Wilson before that, just because of his rushing upside. He has a lot of weapons, but I was gonna pass because I was gonna try to go for Ryan Tannehill. But I'm glad I saw that he went, because now we're gonna go with Zach Wilson here. So now we're pretty comfortable with this quarterback room. I think it's okay to have 3 when we took our first quarterback at round 9. Is that round 9? Round 8? Something like that. Pick 90. And then got our next 2 quarterbacks down in that 150, 175 range. So I'm okay with taking 3 here. And being that we did take Tyler Higbee, I don't feel as pressed to take a 3rd tight end. I'm still considering it. And I have a player in mind that I'll look to take as these rounds progress. But I'm not as pressed as I was before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And how many picks we have left? Let's look at the big board. We have 3 picks, and I feel like I need 2 more receivers and another running back. So it's kind of interesting how this is all shaking out. I do feel very short-staffed at running back, but at the same time, we only have 2 scores that go towards your overall score on a week-to-week basis, and I am pretty confident in our top 3 options, and we do have an insurance policy on our first option. Okay. 186, 199, and 210. 186, 199, 210. I think what the plan is here is to just take the player that we believe in the most, regardless of position. Oh my God. Fuck this Nat. Am I allowed to say that word? Probably not. I think we just take the player we believe in the most, and this makes our decision a little easier. We were going to go after Brian Robinson Jr. I think it's Brian. Is it Brian? Yeah, Brian Robinson Jr. We were going to go after him if he was still available, which he's not. So I think we go receiver right here, just based on who's available. OBJ goes. So we're going to go with like John Mechie. We'll go with Will Fuller. Let's give the young gun a chance. We'll go with John Mechie. We have a plan for our next 2 picks as well. So we have 7 receivers. I don't love that. The later rounds of this draft are kind of falling apart, to be honest with you. But as long as our starters produce and stay healthy, then we should be able to make it out just fine. And if that's the case, then I think we did a good job at giving our weaker categories, as in tight end and quarterback, some more options to fall back on. So I do like that method of drafting and just kind of counting on the guys that you spent a large draft capital on in Austin Eckler, Debo, Michael Pittman, and Deontay Johnson. We have the entire Tennessee Titans receiving core. Kenny Golladay should be able to put up some numbers every once in a while. So we're going to continue with our plan, which is just picking the best available player that we're presented. So if Will Fuller's still available, we'll take him. We should have 2 more picks. Yeah, we have 2 more picks. Will Fuller does go. I'm trying to think in my head if it's more important to go with a 3rd tight end or a 5th running back. And I keep feeling like it's more important to go with a 3rd tight end just because Dallas Goedert and Tyler Higbee aren't in that elite category. So it would kind of give us a little bit more ease of mind going with that 3rd tight end. And I really am confident in this running back room. So that's where my head's at. Raheem Mostert was on my mind as far as someone that I potentially wanted to take. I could go with a backup for Josh Jacobs, but I think I'd almost rather just go. Who's the new tight end in? Oh shoot, what's his name? I know CJ Osama's in New York, but there's another one. Can't think of who it is. But right here, we're going to go with Julio Jones. I think that makes our wide receiver room pretty comfortable. And now this last pick, we can kind of just take the best running back or tight end that's available. So I like the way this is rounding out. Our guy is still here. The running backs really are looking pretty worthless at this point. So I'll probably end up just going 3rd tight end and just counting on our starting running backs. And I really don't have a problem doing that. I know I keep saying it, but Austin Eckler and Isaiah Spiller, one of them is going to put up one of the two scores just because of the offense they're on. One of them will get us a good score every single week. And as long as J.K. Dobbins and Josh Jacobs stay healthy, then we should be able to get at least a decent score from one of the two on a weekly basis. And really, any running back that you grab in this range isn't going to do much for you anyways. The most likely they'll just sit the bench. I don't even know if Sony Michel is going to make the roster. Deontay Foreman is the only one that I'm even remotely interested in just because Christian McCaffrey has a horrible injury history. So if he did go down, Deontay Foreman would step up pretty nicely. So I have taken him in quite a few drafts. So it kind of makes our decision easier. These running backs are just pretty much worthless. Zamir White, who was that? Was he taken in this past draft? I could get a... When was he taken? 4th round draft pick. Georgia running back. Because I could take Zamir White as a backup for Josh Jacobs. But I think I'd rather have a starter than a backup. If our guy goes... Yeah. If we get Braven Jordan, then we'll go with him. If he gets drafted, we'll go with Zamir White. How's that sound? I think that's the right way to do it. We're good on wide receivers. We're fine on running back. We're good on quarterback. We're fine on tight end. So he takes McBride over Braven Jordan. But I think Braven Jordan does have a lot of potential this season, actually. A little bit of a dark horse, but that's why we like to scoop him. Because it is that higher value. Oh, Tyler Conklin. That's who I was trying to think of. Dearness Johnson. So our guy is still there, and we're gonna go Braven Jordan to round out the draft. I like that pick. I think he is a really good prospect. There's not a lot of receiving options in Houston. I think Davis Mills is surprisingly better than people would think. And the ball has to go somewhere, and they will be passing in Houston because they will be down. So that's gonna round off our draft. I could throw this up so we can see how it finishes completely, but for the most part, these picks are not that exciting. So I'm actually really happy with this draft room. Actually, as opposed to watching this finish, let's go over our team one more time. Actually, I guess it's still active. Team full. I guess we have to go to our team. So here it is. Trey Lance at quarterback is our quarterback one. Deshaun Watson is going to be a quarterback one option when he is done with his suspension. Zach Wilson has potential for rushing touchdowns, so he's a good third option to not invest a whole lot of draft capital in our third option, but still have a respectable player. Our running back room stays at 4, which is a fragile build. However, I've talked about the confidence that I have in them. Our wide receiver room looks extremely solid. Debo, Michael Pittman, Deontay Johnson, Traylon Burks, Robert Woods when he comes back, Kenny Golladay, wide receiver 1, John Mechie as a rookie potential, and then Julio Jones wherever he ends up. Hopefully he ends up somewhere, but if he ends up somewhere, he has potential for some good weeks. And then we ended up going with 3 tight ends as well. So I really like this build. I think it has a lot of potential to win us some money and to win the league. But I'm gonna get down there and eat my Greek salad. I am very excited. I'm getting yelled at that my dinner is getting cold, so I appreciate you guys coming out and checking out the stream. I will most likely be streaming tomorrow. I thought about trying to get one more stream in tonight, but we'll probably not. But I definitely will be streaming tomorrow. We do these live streams every day. I haven't said it yet. Underdog Fantasy. Your first deposit from $10 to $100 gets matched at 100% when you use code FFX54 in the shop. It supports the channel. And I'll see you guys either later tonight or tomorrow. Peace out.